So let's do the thing where I finally do the second half of Memetics talk.
Thane the Builder. Can he build it? Thane the Builder. Yes, we can. Building the Second Realm. Tips, tricks, and advice on expanding the parallel network, the Free Republic of PAZNIA, and ways to ensure its thriving. Here's the bell of the build, Thane Riddle.
The bell of the build. So last time I was talking about I left you with a cliffhanger. How do you get more hard workers into the counter economy? And what the fuck are those lazy Agorist niggers good for anyway? So now we segue into fire memes section. You remember the 4 kinds of power: the stick, the carrot, the brand, and the fire. I talk more on fire memes, okay? Tool making. Any retarded fucking alien worth his weight in some exotic hydrogen isotope antimatter could see, even from space, that mankind's greatest strength, besides the Agora, is his tool making. And that one of these two wouldn't be much without the other. The fire meme of tool making is what makes the carrot meme of the Agora so powerful. And the other way around, too. The Agora keeps the wood coming, and the tool makers keep making crazier and crazier fires, which helps the Agora bring more and more wood, among other things, and so on. And this tool making meme has taken ground from the state almost every step of the way. All right, so maybe this whole farming thing may have been what led to the state coming about to begin with. Maybe farming, early settlements, and the early division of labor led to lots of wealth piling up in one spot for the first time. And that led to some folks finding out that they could merely steal that wealth instead of working to grow it themselves. And then that led to early security workers to stop that from happening. And then those early farming settlements might have become paranoid, genocidal clans that preemptively attacked each other, raped each other's women, and utterly wiped each other out until only the craziest, most ruthless, and racist ones were left. And by then, they were so far apart that there was nobody left for the fighting class to plunder but the folks within their own clans. And that might have led to the first kingdoms in olden times, along with their beliefs about having a right to a national land. And those kingdoms might have been the worst states ever, with the most hardcore top down socialism, widespread hunger, and illness. And also, they might have kind of killed a lot of random folks pretty much for shits and giggles, sacrifices to the gods. Look, we're sorry about all that, all right? But hey, don't forget, before all that happened, it was hunger your forefathers were worried about, and many other hardships of living as cavemen and what have you. That was even worse than the state. So, overall, farming was a win for mankind, right? Come on. You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. It's the way things went. What are you going to do? Anyway, look. The tool making meme has been making it up to you ever since. It's been cleaning up the mess. Look, the sailboat and the heavy plow allowed for folks to break off and settle spots far away from the old kingdoms. Tool making's friend, that other fire called life, even helped out by cooking up this thing called the Black Plague to sweep up some of those old states for you, boss. The old kingdoms gave way to feudalism, which was much less bad and more decentralized. Toolmaking gave you the crossbow, and then all of a sudden, the noble's wonderful little bowmen didn't seem like such hot shit anymore, did they? The market even gave you mercenaries to fight off the state's bludgies, and that was already working well for some of you many hundreds of years ago. Are you so quick to forget? It at least helped break up the states a bit, right? What about money? You like that, didn't you? And writing? That's how you got bureaucracy, and I know you don't like that. But that's how the state was decentralized further and kings started to fade into the background. How about the printing press, the Renaissance, bombs, and guns? Don't you see that those tools are why the old breeds of the state died off yet again and allowed for that much less bad liberal democracy bullshit to take their spots? And if all that happened a little too slowly for you, we have some great news. Toolmaking started going fucking parabolic after that. So you got this shit they call industry. So now you don't have to be a farmer and you have more time and wealth to build more tools. That allowed toolmaking to snowball hardcore. And then you got all kinds of shit very quickly. Steam power, electrical power, combustion engines, trains, full auto, guns, cars, radio, aircraft, tanks, film, nuclear power, electronics, washing machines, vacuum cleaners, space age technicolor, wow, transistors, computers, lasers, rockets, video games, the internet, cell phones, hackers, software and digital media piracy, open source software, widespread cutting edge digital cryptographic, decentralized networks, smartphones, cryptocurrency, decentralized applications, large language models. All right. So we got a little hot under the collar there. And while we weren't looking, I guess that liberal democracy thing became something else. Globalist, fascist technocracy with a pretty big surveillance state. And they think some of these new tools will let them have utter magical power over everybody. Whatever, dude. Guess what? Central planning doesn't work. Duh. Do you believe they can pull off anything much more than blowing up a few things and then making their own cash cows dirt fucking poor? You've got another thing coming. Well, they built their shoddy little architecture of tyranny. Something much stronger has been built right under their noses. Something that truly threatens the state's very being. No, not only something that threatens today's breed of state. That's old news. We're talking something that threatens to end the state once and for all. And that's my segue into talking about crypto-anarchy, by the way. You know, even that trust fund baby, Karl Marx, could guess in the 19th century that the new technology could be a big deal in the story of how the state would wither away. But of course, he didn't know much about working or making money, so he missed the elephant in the room of the Agora. Now, Sec 3 went on and on about the Agora, but he said so little about new technology. Mr. Renaissance man of the late 20th century, what the hell was his excuse? And it's a goddamn crying shame that tool making wasn't spoken of more in the old New Manifesto, the New Libertarian Manifesto by Sec 3. Yes, swapping and tool making are not much without each other, and they are both such a big deal to everybody, but tool making is an even bigger deal for agorists. Why do I say that? Well, that brings me to what those lazy agorist niggers are good for. Great thinkers are lazy, yes, and they also lack follow-through, but agorists and those like them are mostly good for starting new things. That's because you only need an agorist mindset to see the world of tomorrow in your mind, start something new and crazy that others wouldn't think of, and then, when it doesn't work, try again until it does. Then when you start something crazy and it kind of works and it grows a little bit, then more and more will hop on the bandwagon. And thankfully, most of those noobs won't be agorists or any other kind of thinker. Some of them will be folks who'd never dare break new ground, but after somebody else has, they have the grit and follow through needed to carry it further. And that's when your lazy ass will get bored and leave to start some other sexy new thing. Starting things is only a teeny tiny bit of the work to be done. After that, almost all of it's follow through. But somebody is needed to start new things that are truly groundbreaking, and it must be somebody with powerful beliefs, insight, and foresight, like an agorist. So it's not enough only to tell agorists to work in the counter economy. Big deal. Lots of dum-dums work in the counter economy. More agorists should do the work that truly brings the counter economy forward, which also happens to be the shit an agorist is more likely to be good at: tool making and being the first ones to wield those new tools. But there's already an offshoot of agorism. That's all about tool making, namely making tools with digital cryptography. This offshoot of agorism is called Crypto-Anarchy. It's been around since as early as the 80s or so, believe it or not. And the cypherpunks to come out of that have been doing some of the greatest work to take down the state that anybody's ever done. It took many years of work, mostly unseen and without much thanks, for crypto-anarchy to come into its own. But now it's all paying off. End-to-end encryption, P2P networks, darknets, and now cryptocurrency and decentralized applications, dApps. Cypherpunks have been behind it all. And all along the way, they did more than their fair share to help overall with things like widespread digital piracy, open source software, and open hardware. By now, it's not hard to see that today's digital cryptography and the many tools that can be built with it are the counter economy's killer apps of the 21st century. And cryptocurrency is at the forefront of them. Cryptocurrency is decentralized cryptographic currency that, for the most part, nobody can control or stop. And cryptocurrency has been one of the greatest attacks ever launched against the state, namely against central banking and tax collection, which are the very lifeblood of the state. Now, cryptocurrency is a very big market, to say the least. It's worth trillions of dollars, more than the money supply of roughly 98% of the countries in the world. Bitcoin alone has almost made it into the top 10 currencies worldwide by market cap, and that's about only half the market cap of all cryptos. And the trade volume of cryptocurrency is more than most fiat currencies on Forex. Though the darknet markets, through the darknet markets, flows tens of billions of dollars every year in online, mostly black market sales made with cryptocurrency. And the cryptocurrency that is treated the most as a true currency is Monero, privacy coin. There's an old tall tale that the Rothschilds said, "Let us control the money of a country, and we care not who makes its laws." Well, cryptocurrency is controlled by nobody. And the earliest cryptocurrency miners, many of which are crypto-anarchists, are likely wealthier than the Rothschilds. Nobody knows who many of them even are, but you can be sure that some of them are still backing subversive technology. All the while, an endless stream of cunningly crafted tokenized networks, often fighting each other to do pretty much the same things, have been popping up all the time. Smart contracts, decentralized applications, and tokenizing everything are all the rage. It's one of the greatest gold rushes of all time. Much of the money and work comes from white-collar wonks and code monkeys who may not even quite know what crypto-anarchy is, and yet they are unknowingly helping it anyway. Of course, a lot of these networks are shitcoins. A lot of them are merely all right. But a handful of them are diamonds in the rough, any one of which may have the power to make very big waves across the whole world in ways that are very bad for the state. Namely, I'll shed light on three big applications I've brought up on the show before: mesh networking, distributed data storage, and secure distributed computing. These three together could decentralize every little bit of everything that can be done with computers: networking, data storage, and computation. And with them, you could build any kind of dApp that you can think of. All any of these three need is to be built in more or less the right way, with more or less good tokenomics, then throw in a little spark of marketing, and boom! Goodbye old internet, goodbye big tech, and goodbye state surveillance of and power over the digital world. And today, all three of these applications each have a handful of projects that are already years into development. Agorists have now made a big mark on the world that everybody can see and everybody's talking about. But it was made by the agorists who honed in on tool making. And there are already more than enough agorists to keep breaking new ground in this way, after which the other 99% of the work will be being done by dumb normies, as it is already. So I think you can mostly forget about spreading awareness, as we've gone through previously, and get down to business getting some goddamn work done in the counter economy. And furthermore, I think the work you ought to hone in on most is making and being the first to wield new tools that help free and empower each motherfucker while undermining and ending the state along the way. The tools needed in the world of tomorrow that will make up the groundwork of the 21st century agora and pave the way for whatever comes next. But what are those tools? What are those tools, you might ask? To quote Sec 3, there is no one way, one straight line graph to liberty, to be sure. But there is a family of graphs, a space filled with lines that will take the libertarian to his goal of the free society, and that space can be described. The Sec 3 said that right before he wrote out 5 linear steps for Agorist strategy, which is ironic. Now, here's another big way that my manifesto is better than Sec 3's old manifesto. Rather than try to guess which thing will come before what, the newer manifesto hones in only on what things need to get done. Or at least I make a few pretty good guesses anyway. And it's likely these things will happen side by side. Even when they happen one after another, it might switch back and forth, but who cares anyway? Throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. That's what I say. So, at other times, I talk all the time. I talk all the time on my show about these 3 big tokenized apps: mesh networks, data storage, and computation. But we're not going to stop there, right? It's not just my manifesto is not the Crypto-Anarchy manifesto, right? It's the Insurrectionary Agorism manifesto. So I'm here to talk about what comes next, what comes after Crypto-Anarchy. Decentralized marketplaces, non-aggression contracts, zero-knowledge reputation systems, bonding, insurance, arbitration, contract enforcement, and physical security. And that brings us to stick memes, the final fucking part of this faggot memetics talk that took so long to finish. Why I call it insurrectionary agorism, the stick meme. So you see, the state itself is a stick meme, and it works because we've talked about the brand memes, we've talked about the carrot memes, we talk about the fire memes, now we talk about the stick meme. You got to fight fire with fire, you got to fight stick with stick. You see, the state is a stick meme, and it works against the agora, stopping it from growing and thriving the way it should, even as the agora slowly eats away at it. But carrots alone are not enough to stop the sticks, boss. The hippies tried that already. Sticking flowers and guns didn't seem to work somehow. So, unless you can come up with an army of Bugs Bunnies, I don't think you'll be making guns blow up in Bludgy's faces by plugging them with carrots anytime soon. If only there was another stick meme that liked the agora. One that worked hand in hand with the agora, shielded the agora from the state while the agora feeds it with an ongoing flow of money. Man, something like that could grow very powerful, huh, boss? Good one. I'm glad you thought of it. But hold on. Didn't I read something about that already in the old manifesto? In Sec 3's manifesto? Didn't he say something about that? Wasn't there like a very big key step in the agorist strategy that is almost always skipped and put on the back burner forever because it's scary and because Mr. Sec 3 said it doesn't come till after for reasons? Let me think. It's surely not spreading awareness because every tard in the world loves doing that. And it can't be doing business in the counter economy because agorism has that shit right in the name. What could it be? Still can't guess? I'll give you one last hit. It rhymes with protection schmumpanies. That's right, boss. Protection companies. The whole fucking thing that the state does, where all your woes come from, the initiation of force. Well, the agora has a very cool answer to that. It's this one weird trick called self-defense. As a very hip, handsome, charming, well-read libertarian lady killer with a head full of jargon, you may have come across this little tidbit once or twice before. It is an old but powerful trick where when somebody fucks with you, you fucking kill them. Then they stop and they never do it again. Sound too good to be true? Check out this celebrity testimonial. ... Every monarch ever. That's what it works better in writing, doesn't it? It's because it's the quote. The quote is just silence, and it just says every monarch ever. And who could be better at the job of defense than the best and brightest professionals, invisible hand picked and raised up big and strong by your great counter-economy.
But are you talking about fighting? That sounds scary. Somebody might get hurt.
That's true. Fighting is scary, and somebody will get hurt. But believe it or not, that's what you want. Of course, you mostly want the bad guys to get hurt more than the good guys. And you want to get away with hurting even the bad guys as little as you can. Can you guess why? That's right. To keep costs down, and so that you can hire them after and garnish their wages. Now you're thinking like an insurrectionary agorist, boss. If you kill a bludgy, you're down one bludgy and one cop. And one cap, rather. But if you hire a bludgy, you're down one bludgy and up one cash cow. And as for all that scary stuff, hey, you don't need to dirty your pretty little hands yourself if that's not your thing, boss. Don't forget that good old division of labor. You merely got to do your thing, make a little dough your own way, and then toss a bit of it over to your friendly neighborhood crypto mercenary, and they'll worry about the dirty work. In truth, though, you might be tossing the dough to an insurance protocol, and then they toss some of that to a security protocol, which then tosses a bit to the fighters, among other things. But more on that another time. Truthfully, this won't even be the scariest work you ever get others to do. And certainly not the dirtiest. Do you know that in America, at least, soldier and cop aren't even close to the deadliest jobs? Nope. The deadliest ones are shit like fisher, farmer, and logger. And tons of folks already drag themselves off for months at a time to get that bullshit done, don't they? Because they be stacking that cheese. Being a crypto mercenary will be like that, but more fun and way more sexy. And you'll need them to keep you alive as much as you need fishers and farmers. That's because the stick is the very ground upon which the carrot and the brand play. You only ever reach for the carrot or the brand in the first place so you can stave off the great stick of death. And without wielding your own stick, a way of outright stopping other things from killing you, you have nothing. There are sticks in this world that will not be stopped by offering carrots or branding things in some other way. There are sticks that can only be stopped by other sticks. This isn't like rock, paper, scissors. The stick beats everything. Want to talk me out of hurting you? Bam. Want to offer me something? Bam. It's mine now anyway. Begging for your life? Bam. Do you believe in God? Bam. Want to hit me back? Bam. Too slow. So, why in the fucking world would you want to put off getting your own stick? Do it now. Do it now. And if you have one, get a bigger one. And don't put that off either. Your foe is always trying to get a bigger one too. And don't forget, the way to make better sticks is through the power of fire. And there is no greater fire within your grasp than the power of the meme. Likewise, the biggest stick of all, at least the biggest within your power to wield, is a good old stick meme. One that's made of many sticks all banging away, or at least threatening to, all while growing and getting more and more sticks within its grasp. As I said before, the state is such a stick meme. And that's why it can be so harmful, because the stick beats everything. And if a very strong meme can only be beaten by another meme, and a very thick-skulled stick wielder can only be stopped by another stick, then a very strong, thick-skulled stick meme can only be stopped by another good stick meme. And as time has shown you again and again, a bunch of folks who hurt anybody that fucks with them, but otherwise hold back the stick, will do better than a bunch of folks who merely hit anybody with the stick, even each other. The former tends to eat the latter, because the former can grow more carrots, among other things. And this has been one of the ways that more agora-allowing states have killed and eaten, or even latched onto and fed off of, the less agora-allowing states. It is one of the ways the agora has taken more ground, by letting its foes, the states, turn against each other, and empowering the less bad ones to kill off the worse ones. But this can only take you so far, because another state is only another foe, even if it may sometimes be less bad than the old one. Indeed, we would sometimes say that about right now, at this time in the story of mankind, it looks to be the end of the line for this lesser evil tactic. The healthier breeds of state have allowed about as much of the agora as they can without crumbling before they even start. They have even done a lot to wield more and more of their power through the sham agora critters known as corporations, and they can no longer take this any further without stifling the agora more than not, which is quickly looking like a step backwards for them. These bloated, bumbling top-down corporations may well be the downfall of these new fascist technocracies around the world. So, I think merely swapping out one state for another isn't going to help much the agora anymore. Though the minarchists and such, may not like to hear that. There aren't a lot of them here, so that's all right. Now, you have agorism, a better way to help the agora against the state. And agorism even has the beginnings of its own stick meme, the protection companies, which agorism happily borrowed from its slightly older brother, anarcho-capitalism. But the old New Manifesto guessed that starting protection companies could wait until, quote, phase 3, after agorism and the counter-economy have grown so big that the state is already very pissed off at them and ready to kill them all. Now, nobody knows for sure how things will play out. But in my newer manifesto, and here on this show, I will tell you that my guess is that it's very fucking dumb to wait until your foe is right about to kill you before you even think of putting together the shopping list for your defensive readiness. Furthermore, how the hell is the counter economy even going to grow so much as to have a, quote, large condensation agorist society without any true defensive power along the way? It fucking won't. The state would quickly put a stop to any such silly pacifistic fairy tale. Condensation. I lost my spot. Condensation. Condensation is when a bunch of you are in one spot. You ever heard of shooting fish in a barrel? And Sec 3 thought that could happen well after statists take notice of agorism. Quote, statists take notice of agorism. And, quote, libertarians are perceived as a threat. Pogroms, mass arrests may even occur, although that is unlikely. They'll, quote, count on the sympathy of the rest of society to restrain the state from a mass attack. Are you fucking kidding? Look, we all love Sec 3, and he truly started something great with this manifesto, but what fucking multiverse did this pussy come from? That is not how shit works in this world at all, not even close. They'll call any movement they don't like a terrorist organization before the movement even crawls out of the fucking crib and get it caught up in infighting, entrapment plots, and smear campaigns so fast they don't even know what hit them. This happens all the time already, and nobody gives a shit about your sympathy. Billions of folks around the whole fucking world are sympathetic to the Palestinians, even some folks in Israel, and even a few in the IDF itself. How's that worked out for them? Sympathy's not a fucking enough. Enter insurrectionary agorism, the thing that I named my manifesto after. I think, as you might have guessed, the only way to reach anything like what Sec 3 calls mid-density agorist society is to already have at least small free markets for arbitration and protection that were up and running since the low-density days. And those arbitration and protection markets need to put some meat on their bones before you even dream of any condensation much bigger than what you already have now. A thriving, growing, counter-economic marketplace with its own arbitration and protection markets is the only way to cut through all the smoke and mirrors of the masturbatory podcasts, social media, festivals, disinfo, subcultural hijacking, arrests, and raids, all of which already hold back libertarians of all kinds from doing anything big. It's also the only way to reach the ones who aren't fucking libertarians, most of the counter economy. And then when there is enough condensation that the bludgies are too scared to come around anymore, the state will send in the military, which they already do at the drop of a hat. And when that happens, you will need fully grown protection companies on fucking speed dial. But before you can even call them, they will already be there because they will be inside the state's military too. That's how far this needs to go. One step ahead of the state and then some. Nowadays, you have some very cool tools that can make these protection companies or protocols better than they ever could have been before, such as cryptocurrency and other decentralized digital networks. And these tools are getting better very quickly. And guess what? That low density time when those arbitration and protection markets need to be built, that's right now. And there is nothing stopping us from helping to build them together. If you're on board, I got some good news for you. You're an insurrectionary agorist, boss. So fucking get your ass into the PAZNIA anti-national security chat. Go to like PAZNIA.com/simplex and see all the rooms there and stuff. And now I will soon be able to experience relief from doing this show. Thank God. I see that we have double-digit viewers on Rumble alone. The show is growing. That's horrifying. Horrifying. We put very little effort into this show, folks, but it grew anyway because it's all about consistency. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what it's about. And I don't care. We should probably make the show better at some point in the next 6 months. Just a little bit better. But also, you guys should give us money. Just like throw it at the screen or the speaker or whatever. Let's see. Yeah, go to PAZNIA.com/simplex. There's a bunch of chats there. Okay. Cool chats and things. There's the fucking, you'll see them. Okay. I don't need to read them to you. All right. And I am an expert privacy and security consultant for digital and physical privacy and security, going back many years, much experience. If you have some privacy and security needs worth paying someone for, then go to vonupodcast.com/cd, VONU podcast.com/cd to get my session ID or simplex address. On the next show, I will hopefully talk about the down to earth tip will be transportation privacy when going under threat. And I might talk about, I guess I'll talk about decentralized VPNs next week as well. Do like a little bit of a deep dive kind of thing. Now let's see if I can find my special quote. Okay, here we go. I'll leave you with a snippet from Meltdown by Nick Land. Level 1, or world space, is an anthropomorphically scaled, predominantly vision configured, massively multi-slotted reality system that is obsolescing very rapidly. Garbage time is running out. Can what is playing you make it to level 2? Meltdown has a place for you as a schizophrenic, HIV-positive, transsexual, Chinese, Latino, stim-addicted LA hooker with implanted mirror shades and a bad attitude, blitzed on a polydrug mix of K-Nova, synthetic serotonin, and female orgasm analogs. You have just iced 3 touring cops with a highly cinematic 9mm automatic. The residue of animal twang in your nerves transmits imminent quake catastrophe. Zero is coming in, and you're on the run. Self-Liberation Saturday will keep going for some hours still. There will be sundry PRN deprogramming today, followed by 2 reruns of the Vonu podcast. First rerun will be TVP 149, Down the Rabbit Hole of Self-Liberation, guest appearance on #TeamRabbitHole, followed by TVP 150, Spiritual Self-Liberation, Psychedelics and False Timelines / Historical Resets with Raphael of #TeamRabbitHole. I've never heard that. I've never heard that episode before. False timelines. Hey, have you guys ever hear about the Cybernetic Culture Research Unit or the stuff to do with William S. Burroughs time traveling and becoming a pirate in the past, and how like lemurs are from Lemuria and stuff. You should probably, that's one hell of a rabbit hole for you. Anyway, don't touch that dial, boss. Stay tuned and stay frosty.
You're listening to the PAZNIA Radio Network. Good day, fellow self-liberators. Daisy Free Robot here with some critically important links. First off, PAZNIA.com/books2. This link will take you to a page with free PDF downloads to books, zines, and other publications in the realms of self-liberation and Vonu. Save some copies yourself, throw them on the dark net, burn them to flash drives, store them on blockchains, throw them in buried 55-gallon drums, or whatever. Make sure they never disappear. Again, PAZNIA.com/books2. Second, PAZNIA.com/simplex. Here, you can find links to the numerous and growing selection of simplex PAZNIA chats, ranging from the General Committee of Correspondence, our Department of Technology, the PAZNIA Radio Network, all the way to PAZcraft, the chat group for our own self-hosted, open-source mine test server. That is PAZNIA.com/simplex. And finally, with mention of PAZcraft, there is also our own server that you connect to. For more information and connection details, visit PAZNIA.com/PAZcraft. Again, PAZNIA.com/PAZcraft. Thanks for being here. Now, back to the transmission.